I'm Leon and together with Alicia I'm developing the game GOLEMBERT. In this video you will not only hear my voice but also see my face sometimes, because I wanted to take you along 5 days of our development process. A normal morning for me starts with getting up, brushing my teeth and doing some exercise. Then I have oatmeal for breakfast and I do a nice round of Duolingo. Seriously, this is not an ad. I'm currently learning Polish, so I can talk to Alicia's aunt when we visit her, and do teraz to jest dobrze, nie mówi po polsku, jestem jabłko. After I'm done with all that, I'm sometimes preparing lunch already, sometimes I work straight away. I don't like being away from the computer for long while it's running, so I usually try to get everything done before work. Since I have completed all the dialogues for GOLEMBERT in the last few weeks, I wanted to start with something easy today. Collecting all character portraits. Each NPC can have one portrait per dialogue text. To find out what kind of portrait each NPC needs, I first have to go through all the dialogues and define an emotion or mood for each dialogue text. This can be something unspecific like angry, happy or sad, but also something detailed like eyes closed and happy, cool and with sunglasses or sweating. At the end of each dialogue I count all the portraits so that I can use their numbers later. Since we currently have 4 main NPCs plus 3 secondary NPCs in addition to GOLEMBERT as the main character, that's a lot of dialogue that I have to go through, 49 dialogues to be precise. So now I've collected all the portraits, now I can take a break and have lunch.
Ist es gut?
Back from the break I collect all the portraits per character and count their frequency per NPC. Since the main character GOLEMBERT often has the option to answer to NPCs, GOLEMBERT's portraits are always in between, which makes everything a bit chaotic. Now all the frequencies have been counted. These lists directly reflect the priorities of the respective portraits. This way we can rationalize away less important portraits later if necessary. I'll put the top 5 on Alicia's Miro board so that she can work through them when she has the time. And that's it for the day already. Afterwards I had to answer a few emails and fix a few little things in Unity, but then it was already late evening and time for a little night walk. Alicia and I try to have at least a little balance to our office job. That's why we often go for a walk or play an analog board game in the evening or read a book to relax our eyes. I, for example, am currently reading the second part of Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I read the first part last year and really liked it until Kong Ming appeared. Although some important things like Redcliffe only take place after Kong Ming appears, and though I found the mutual outwitting with Ju Yu at Redcliffe quite funny, I unfortunately find him very boring as a Mary Sue-like character. But I can definitely recommend the first half of the first part. On this day I wanted to continue working on the dialogues. To be precise, on making them work in Unity. I have already implemented all dialogue texts as localized strings and dialogue graphs, but it is not yet entirely clear when exactly an NPC should use which graph. At the moment there are only different diagraph pools that are processed one after another, but the NPCs should not simply go through their pools one after another, but wait for the respective main pool. Here is our main story shown in a simplified form in Miro. You can clearly see what the important pools are, and which pools should wait for others to be absolved first. Diagraphs should set so-called global bools, or global dialogue manager bools, or world bools, or simply bools, true if they have been successfully completed. For example, after the quest return from this dialogue from Helio, the bool C1 Helio done, which says that chapter 1 of Helio is finished, should be set to true. For this and all other transitions, I first need a handful of bools. These are then set to true by strings in the dialogue nodes and the diagraphs when the node is reached. For me, this is all handled by the node parser, which reads out all the data that such a node can have and reacts to it in a meaningful way. All bools are now set to true if the associated strings are in a node. Of course, I then had to test everything a few more rounds and correct a few things, but testing is relatively quickly if you make all quests completable with 1 mint leaf. During our lunch break, Alicia and I also went to the library today. We had to return some items and got some new stuff to try out. If you aren't using libraries, but have one in your proximity, we highly recommend to you to try them out. They are free in a lot of US states and their yearly membership cost in European countries are super low. We currently pay €5 for a 1-year membership, for example. Big bargain for an endless supply of books, games and movies. Now that all quests are playable thanks to bools, I'm doing a few more things today that I didn't quite got done recently. For example, I want there to be a show quest and a get quest distinction in the notes. At the moment, the quest content is always shown when a node has assigned a quest, and is always assigned directly. But sometimes that doesn't make sense. For example, when an NPC wants to show you what the quest is first, and you can then say yes or no to it. So I added a bool for get quest and ask for it in the node parser. That's basically it, lol. Easy fix. Next I would like Helio to be able to disappear. Helio teleports himself twice through his fireball after certain quest returns. For that we simply switch off Helio's renderer when the appropriate bools are set to true. But because Helio may always teleport back briefly when you approach him so that you can still trade with him, we add a trigger with a script and on-trigger enter and exit functions. If the player enters the trigger and the bools are true, then Helio should appear again. If he exits the trigger and the bools are true, he should disappear again. That wasn't that much work today. Enough time for a good read in the evening sun of my balcony. Now that I've implemented so much for the NPCs, today I'm going to tackle something that I haven't managed to do very well so far, even though it's not that difficult. Look, that's what our NPCs sound like when they talk. They play plop sounds that are changed in pitch while the typeout coroutine is running in the node parser. And that sounds pretty good. But we actually want each NPC to use its own sound pool. I'll implement that quickly and then I'll explain why I've been a bit hesitant about it so far. So we first look at the typeout coroutine and see where the plop sounds are made. Then we add a list of sound clips to the NPC script, which is our sound pool. So if the NPC has a sound pool, it should use it. Done, GG, well played. The real problem is that everything except plop sounds doesn't really sound that good. Here for example I used xylophone sounds. And here I used myself saying hello.
Hello, 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 hello.
Neither sound great. Maybe that's because I'm not the biggest fan of the Animal Crossing dialogue sounds either. I understand that they are very iconic and unique, but let's be honest, that sounds like Eiffel 65 folks. I'll just postpone the problem of the right NPC talk sounds to the future again. Maybe I'll find something suitable at some point when I make the music for GOLEMBERT. Time for a lunch break. For my second task, I'm going to do another collection day today. But instead of collecting portraits, I'm going to collect all the planned quest items. That doesn't take as long as the portraits, because there are only about 23 main quests. The majority of all quest items are potions, which you can make in a node-based potion crafting system. We already have a few potions as items in the game, but the majority still needs to be implemented. I'll do that quickly. Done. Now these potions need to get items assigned they need as an input. For flexibility reasons, potions don't require direct crop yields, but only colors assigned to the yields, meaning red, green, yellow or purple yields. This ensures that you can complete all quests in all seasons and don't have to wait for next summer to get strawberries, for example. In addition to these yields from your own garden, you will also need items that can be obtained from neighboring islands. This can only be done by sending little garden dwellers, the Herbits, we changed the name, on missions to obtain these items. Those are all the items you would need. We can put them in a hierarchy again so that Alicia knows which icons she should do first and which later. Enough progress for today. This evening Alicia and I played Carcassonne instead of reading. We really like analog games and we'll definitely make analog prototypes of our future games before prototyping them digitally. Now that all the main quest items are clear, I can actually make the map of Golembert's archipelago for the Herbit missions and the potion map for crafting final. So I'm doing that today. For the Herbit map, I'm creating 4 rings around Golembert's island in the middle of the map according to the number of story chapters. You first have to unlock each of the rings by helping the Herbits expand their settlement. The first ring should ideally contain all the items from the first main story chapter, the second all the items from the second one, and so on. To do this, I first throw all the items onto the map and then turn them into islands. So now I have all the islands. Now comes the fun part, giving the islands somewhat suitable names. They are probably provisional at first, but I like giving things names. Okay, now the Herbit map is actually finished. All that's left to do is to implement it. Done. The potion crafting map actually has the same structure as the Herbit map, except there are no islands here, but stars. And you don't send Herbits either, but follow the stars along. So you also need permanent connections between the stars. Therefore it's actually not that similar to the Herbit map, but there are circles again, and in each circle there are potions according to the corresponding chapter. There are also 4 quadrants according to the 4 yield colors. These are assigned to the elements fire, water, air and earth. This themes the potions a bit more. Sometimes there should also be empty nodes, for example at forks in the road or if you want to make a potion a bit more difficult to access. Now all the main quest potions are on the map and a few empty nodes are included for theming reasons. For example, I gave each quadrant 2 empty start nodes that have an opposite in another quadrant, like the potions of the body node in fire and the potions of the mind node in air. And that's it again for this day. Today is movie night, so I'm watching Kiki's delivery service. I recently watched Mononoke in the cinema, therefore I felt like watching Kiki again. Very good movie. And whoopsie daisy, 5 days have already passed. I hope you enjoyed coming along. If you would like to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments. Consider wishlisting our game GOLEMBERT on Steam and or follow us here on YouTube to not miss any of our devlogs. Hope you're having a great day. Don't overwhelm yourself. Bye!